Hi guys, FrostFangs here, back again with another Paladins video on the PTS with the Kasumi Last Remains update. I always struggle to get that intro out. I'm going to be covering all of the skins today: Moji, Andro, Vatu, Lian and Tiberius, all 5 in one video. And I'm going to go in order from my least favourite to the ones that I like the most. So we'll go into the target practice and start off with Andro, which is direct purchase or through a chest. I've seen a lot of people online also not really like it that much. I wouldn't say it's a bad skin at all. I'd easily rate it like a 6. It's just compared to the other Andro skins, it doesn't look as nice, or just, at least to me, I don't find it to be as appealing. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one because I do want to move through them pretty quick and spend a little bit more time on the ones I like compared to the ones I don't like as much. In third person, it looks just kind of weird. The head, especially in the menus, is tiny for some reason. Honestly, I don't really know how to put it. I do like the little cat in the backpack on the back. I think that's a cool touch. The weapon is probably the best part about the skin. The third person is the thing I like the least about it, but there's no reload animation. I don't know if that's just missing or if there isn't meant to be one, but Andro just kind of opening his gun and then closing it again with nothing happening to like the bullet part of the revolver, it's just weird. The reversal, it looks fine. I've gone against this one a couple times already so far on the test server. The effects are fine. I just don't know why you'd grab this over another Andro skin, because he does have quite a few, and I think if this was his first one it would be a bit of a different story, but even then, yeah, it's just a few parts about it that are kind of missing. The ultimate also, I mean, the music's kind of cool, but the ultimate doesn't have really effects. It just looks like the weapon effect like blown up, and the gun doesn't change at all. Also want to mention real quick that I am sort of rating the skins. I'd give this one either a 4 or a 6 depending on if they change the ultimate and the reload, then it would go up to a 6. I'd love to hear your guys' ratings down in the comments for each of the 5 different skins, but this is the lowest one for me personally, although I'm not really including the voice packs in the ratings at all. You can if you fancy. I just don't really pay too much attention to the voice packs unless they really stand out or are really lacking. Same sort of thing with the sound effects really. But anyway, moving on to Vatu. This one is also a direct purchase or a chest, although this one is at 500 crystals, the other one was 800. Same with the Moji one, which is also 800. I imagine because it's a crossover thing. This is a bit of a weird one for me. I overall really like it. I would give this one probably a 7, 7.5. The effects, I think, are just Vatu's standard effects, and maybe with like a slight purple tinge to them, but probably just Vatu's standard ones. As far as I can tell, they're basically the same, unless I'm just not remembering them correctly. But either way, the effects don't, stand out as not matching the skin. I think they're perfectly fine. I don't think they really needed to change them, except maybe tinting them purple a little bit, which would be kind of cool. But most of what you're going to get from this skin is the third person, which you can't see when you're playing him. So first person, this seems just like a recolor of the other demon one we've got, which I personally prefer to this, but I do see why you would grab this over that, because it is going for a different sort of vibe, and it reminds me of like Outlast and I guess Oddsworld a little bit. That's a bit of a weird reference for this sort of channel, but overall I like this skin quite a bit. There isn't too much I can really say about it. It's very similar to normal Vatu and the demon skin. It's kind of in like the halfway point between those two. I would say it does serve a purpose. Here's a look at the ultimate, which again I think is pretty much the same. The effects feel very, very familiar at least. But yeah, Abyss, Cultist, Vatu. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, like I said, in the comments. Moji's one is number 1. Next up is either Tiberius or Lian. I'd put them around the same. I wouldn't, really favour one over the other. Or then maybe Tiberius is a little bit, so we'll go to Lian first. I like both of these a lot. I'd rate both of these, at least from what I remember on the patch notes show, like an 8.5 or a 9. So here is a look at the Lian skin. These are both ones in the battle pass. The Lian one specifically stands out as an interesting mesh of like her being a mage and like an Oni type character, as well as like a demon sort of thing. Obviously this sort of thing won't be for everybody, but for me, even though this aesthetic has sort of been done a little bit to death, I don't mind it, and I'm still happy that we're getting skins like this for characters that don't already have skins like this. Like for Lian, I feel like the skin fits really quite well. Here are the effects on the weapon, quite a bit different. The Q, which has a nice bit of detailing there on it. The weapon does stick out as looking a little bit weird because it's kind of end heavy, and the Oni at the end there looks like stuff I've seen in other games. But there's the right click, there's the F. All of Lian's effects are obviously going to look kind of similar because she doesn't really have too much variance in what she can have done with them, to be honest. Overall, I like this skin a lot. I have no complaints about it. We'll see with a recolor in a minute, which I'll do at the end after we've done Moji, sort of to circle back around. Here is the ultimate, which is also really cool. I didn't get a proper look at the projectile there. You're not really going to get a proper look at that anyway most of the time, but this skin's effects, exactly what I was sort of hoping for. There is the ultimate. Sound effects are good too. Top-notch stuff. Easy 8.5 from me, or even a 9 maybe. Here's a look at the weapon. I forgot to inspect Lian's, but it doesn't matter too much. You can sort of get a full view of most of the weapons just from seeing them. I was hoping this would look a little bit more I don't know how to really describe it, but it looks kind of dull in hand on Tiberius. It might just be me, I don't know, but there's the projectile, which looks cool. I like it, I'm not really criticizing it, I just thought it would look a little bit different. Oh, the reload looks great though. Oh, the reload looks sick. That completely makes up for the weapon looking maybe not crazy, because it does look crazy when you do the reload. Okay, I like that. We'll pop the Q and then spam that a bit. That's pretty much where I was expecting it to be. The right click. Okay, there's the explosion. I forgot I grabbed the talent. And the F. Not really too much they can do with those effects. As a look at it, honestly, I feel like this skin looks just crazy good. Yeah, in third person. The recolor even more so, because I think I like the color palette a little bit more. But there's the right click. The effects on that are just great. We'll go for the ultimate. Do a little bit of a spin. That looks great. There might be a bit of a gameplay disadvantage to this skin, but yeah, it just looks great on Tiberius. I don't know what else I could say. All of this stuff with this one just, yeah, it meshes fantastically, I would say. We'll throw the right click and pull it back though real quick, just I want to see what that looks like. Yeah, there we go. Great skin. I have zero complaints. Again, I'd probably rate this one even higher at like a 9.5 or a 9, just because I like this sort of theme a lot. I talked about it when I covered Talus not that long ago, maybe a couple months back. This just feels like the same thing, possibly even better, just as Tiberius. It looks sick. I don't know what else I can say, man. It looks great. I changed my mind. We're going to do the recolors here. Here's a look at the recolored version of Lian's with sort of a jade green thing going on. The mask looks a little bit low res, but that might just be in my settings because it's the PTS. Here's a look in third person. Also, yeah, just looks great. I don't know how you could complain about the skin visually. Here is the Q. They actually changed the effects. They didn't need to do that because it would have matched the skin, but somebody went the extra step to make these green. The reload also on the weapon might be a bit weird. I don't like the reload as much on this skin. Yeah, this one's definitely a little bit lower than the Tiberius one, but it still looks good. The green effects honestly make the recolor probably more of my sort of thing than the standard version of it. I really like the green here. Honestly, aside from a few really small things, this skin is just top notch. The ultimate is also green, which just looks crazy goddamn good. I imagine the ultimate is probably tied to the skin, so you'd have to use this version, and the weapon is probably what controls this, so you can mix and match them maybe, and have a few things be green and a few other things be red. I like this skin though a lot. The effects, I'm glad they changed them. They look really good. Then we have the Tiberius recolor, which looks fantastic. Specifically, the Inspect here with the sword is just crazy. It's sort of similar to Xin, but the way he just throws it and it kind of goes behind him, that's sick. I really like Tiberius's Inspect, the secondary one he has with the other thing. The standard one is kind of whatever, but that just looks really, really good. And I think the effects of this one are going to be the same. They don't need to be different. They changed them for the Lian one. That's sort of the extra step. I feel like them just being the same makes sense. Even on the Lian one, it would have been fine. In third person, this one looks a hell of a lot nicer to me. I really like the sort of thing they did here with the red and the white. It just looks really, really clean. The shading on it is great. Details, it just looks, yeah, really, really good. Don't know if I've said this already, but with Tiberius and Lian, I think it's really quite nice and important to have the skins look good in third person, with Andro's one looking a little bit, you know, not as good as these, in my opinion. I don't think it matters that much because the first person still looks good, aside from the animations maybe not being there. Whereas with these ones, you do see the skins pretty often in third person, especially if you're going for like an alt setup with Lian or Tiberius. You are going to be noticing the fact that you're running one of the two different versions. So yeah, it's worth some, is my point. For some reason, this is still sort of broken. I have to go in and change the key bindings for certain things. Even though I will say it to all champions, hit the thing, it'll update it for all of them, aside from a few that just don't update and I have to do it manually, and sometimes even then it doesn't work. So I changed it now to my mouse button, and you can see the Inspect, which I think for this one I do really need to show. I really like the cell shading. I love how unique it looks. The execution though isn't perfect. I don't think this skin is like done the best way it possibly could have been done. I feel like there is a version of this skin that I can sort of picture in my head that would fit Paladins a little bit more and would look a little bit better, but I'm still really glad they went with it. I'm not trying to shit on the skin at all. I think it's fantastic. It still looks great in Paladins. It still fits really well. I played a couple games where this has been in it. It doesn't seem out of place at all. The effects are also fantastic. They fit the skin. They just look so goddamn good. Sort of like a pixelated neon green and purple mix going on here. There's the Q, which I don't like as much, but the F, got a little bit of music going on there. The ultimate, the sort of bone thing going on there, which also looks great with the animation. This skin just gets so many points for uniqueness. I probably would use the Tiberius one and pick it over this 90% of the time, but the fact that this is just so different from other stuff we've got, and they made it look the way they made it look, I would have to put this one as my favorite, even though it's probably my second favorite, if that makes any sort of sense. The F, yeah, a little bit of music going on there. I like the little bone scuttle effect. We've got the ultimate. shown this already, but it's an extra sort of motif to the skin, if that makes sense. They could have just made it sort of evil skeleton emoji. Maybe they'll reuse this for like a recolor where it doesn't have the music theme going on and it isn't a crossover. But overall, I think this skin is worth the crystals, it's worth the chest, whereas some of the other ones I could argue, I feel like this one, just because of what it does, in my opinion, is kind of worth it. I think that's everything I've got to say in this video. I think I've been talking quite a bit in the PTS cycle this time around. I've never noticed though, Moji has these sort of idle animations. The left one has an animation, the right one has one, and Moji sort of does a thing where she pulls them in and stuff, and the right one doesn't ever move, the left one wiggles. I don't know why I've never noticed that specifically before. Character, skins, gameplay stuff, it's a good mix I think for the update. The only thing I'm really missing from Paladins updates recently are just the maps, understandably so. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Of course, let me know what you want to see me do next. Let me know also your thoughts, like I said, down in the comments. I'll see you guys all really, really soon. And as always, stay frosty.